topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. For about the last 2 years, this has been a local Tampa show, and we made a decision that this show, our expert this morning, is such an important topic that we promote this show throughout the state of Florida. So when I said good morning, Florida, it's because this now is we target Florida instead of just Tampa. I am so excited that we can get more people educated in the field of money management, wealth management. And I got to tell you, it was such an easy decision because we have got the greatest company in Provise Management Group with Ray Ferrara. It's just, and this show goes by so fast. Let me welcome our expert, Ray Ferrara. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Steve. And as always, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Ray's with us twice a month. And it's just, I think he's got this crystal ball because it is so amazing the things that he has said on this show that have come true. And, you know, as a client or a potential client to Provise, God, what a great company to represent your money. Ray, now we've got all these new people tuning in. Tell people about Provise Management Group.
Well, Steve, be happy to do that. Provise Management Group was founded in 1986. And since that time, we have grown to one of the largest registered investment advisory firms in the country, ranked in the top 300 by Financial Advisor magazine. But we see ourselves as a financial planning firm, first and foremost, and an investment management second. We always believe that the investment management has the opportunity to be more successful once we understand the holistic, greater picture of our clients. We have 14 financial advisors that are backed up by a wonderful staff of 16 folks. We have offices in Tampa and Clearwater, but we have clients scattered over 34 states. And we're managing about $1.9 billion on behalf of those. And we believe that everything starts with a financial plan first and foremost. For some, it's a simple one page with 4 or 5 bullets on it. For others, obviously, it's much more complicated. But we believe that with a written financial plan, the odds of your success increase dramatically. So we always offer a 1-hour free consultation to anyone in either of our offices. And for those that are outside of the Tampa Bay area, we're always available by Zoom and delighted to add new folks to our growing family of clients. And if anybody wants to reach us, of course, there's the number scrolling across the bottom right now, 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. And you can also visit our website, provise.com.
Ray, we've been doing the show for over 2 years now, and one of the things I've learned about you, you really do care about people. You really do care about your clients, and I think that's half the battle right there.
Well, there's no question that a personal touch makes a difference, and we connect with our clients not only around their finances, but we know their family. We connect with them at an emotional level and celebrate those joyous occasions, like all the graduations that have been going on for the past month, and then those not so joyous occasions as well. But we feel it's very important to stay close to our clients and to visit with them on a regular basis.
Well, let's jump right in. Molly in Tampa wrote us. She said, now that we are retired, do we really need to keep our life insurance policy? It seems like after paying all these years that we shouldn't have to give it up.
Well, Molly, we buy life insurance, in our opinion, for three reasons. One is to replace income in the event of the premature death of the breadwinner, whoever that may be. And today, of course, it's usually both members of the family. The second is to pay off debts in case of a premature debt or a death. And then the third is for estate taxes. So the question to ask yourself is, do you need to replace income? Well, if you're retired, probably not. Do you have any debts left? If you do, then carrying enough life insurance to pay off those debts might make some sense. And then thirdly, to pay estate taxes. And unless your estate is above roughly $25 million at this point, husband and wife, half that for a single individual, there's no need for the life insurance for estate taxes. So if you're having to continue to pay the premiums on that life insurance, that's cutting into other things that you might be able to do with the money. So what do you do with it? Well, you really have three choices. One, you could just cash it in, assuming it's a cash value policy. If it's a term policy, you could just stop paying the premiums and it'll go away. If it's a cash value policy, you'll get the cash back if you turn it in. But you may also want to think in terms of looking at potentially selling the life insurance policy, which can be done with a number of very reputable firms. And in this case, investors actually buy the policy. Often it's a pension plan that is buying the life insurance policies. And why would they buy it? Well, they know that if they continue to pay the premiums on the policy, that there will be an eventual death that will occur, and then they will get the proceeds. In the meantime, you get a nice lump sum check from the investor, no longer have to pay the premiums, and you've got some additional money for travel or whatever else that is that you want to do. Unfortunately, the healthier you are, I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but unfortunately, the healthier you are, the lower you're going to get for the policy, because they're going to have calculated your longevity actuarially, and healthy people obviously live longer than unhealthy people. So it is worth investigating rather than just turning in the policy. Usually, if the policy is over $100,000, it is something that can be sold in what is called the viatical marketplace, and we would encourage you to look at that potential possibility. Again, life insurance for three reasons, Steve: replace income, pay debt, and pay estate taxes. If you don't have a need for any one of those three reasons, you probably don't need any life insurance at all. I know it's hard for people to give it up. That we're all hugging that tree. We paid those premiums all those years, and gosh, you mean I'm not going to collect on it? Well, at this point in life, sometimes it's best to just go ahead and give it up.
Right? Do you think the governor's going to sign off on this making marijuana legal in Florida?
Well, it's not the governor that gets to sign off on it. It's actually an amendment to the Florida Constitution that we'll be voting on in November. And if memory serves me correctly, it's Amendment 3. And essentially, it would legalize the recreational use of marijuana in Florida, just as number of other states have done. Right now in Florida, of course, we do have medical marijuana that is available. You have to see a doctor, get, in essence, a prescription from a doctor who has been trained in determining whether you qualify medically for it or not. And now this amendment would absolutely make it legal in Florida to purchase it. If it were to go through, it will certainly have an economic impact in Florida, in that the government will collect a tax on the marijuana, just as it does now on the medical marijuana, and so it would increase the revenues for the state. But it would also expand cannabis and all of its related products to these firms that are currently providing the medical marijuana, and probably attract others. And there are certainly ways for people who believe that marijuana is a future economic gainer to invest into that. We don't ever name specific companies on this show, but certainly worth investigating, and probably, in addition to investment opportunities, may even produce an opportunity for many people to find opportunities for themselves and small businesses that might support the industry. So yes, voting yes means we'll legalize marijuana. And of course, we need 60% of the voters to do it. Right now, the polls are suggesting that it will pass. So we'll just have to wait another about 5 more months before we'll know for sure.
Ray, have you seen where other states who have legalized it that there have become economic opportunities?
Oh, absolutely. There is no question, both in terms of investment opportunities that exist as the industry expands, and smaller businesses that are able to crop up as a result of it in support of the industry.
Okay. Ray, do you think active or passive investing is the best alternative for, say, the average investor?
So, Steve, I always answer that question with yes. Both have their pluses and their minuses. Active management comes where there is a manager, usually in the form of a mutual fund, who is making the decisions about what the mutual fund is going to buy and or sell at any given time. So hence the term active. The portfolio is continuing to turn over all of the time. In passive investments, which are generally supported by an exchange traded fund, or ETF, exchange traded fund, the portfolio is a static one. The best example of an exchange traded fund is the S&P 500. And it usually comes in 2 varieties. One of the ETFs has equal weighted. That means all 500 companies in the S&P 500 are equally weighted. So in that particular case, each of them would represent about 2/10 of the portfolio. On the other hand, you can have market weighted, and that is the bigger you are, the more you are as part of the portfolio. And right now, with NVIDIA doing as well as it's doing, it alone right now represents about 8% of the S&P 500. So as opposed to such a small number over here in the equal weighted, where it's only like 2/10 of 1%, In a market weighted, it's 8%. So the bigger you are, the more you are. Both are passive, and as a result of there not having to be any turnover and not being any research to be done, once the basket of stocks is put together into an exchange traded fund, the management fee is very small. A typical mutual fund all in is going to have costs that'll be somewhere between 80 and 100 basis points, where in an ETF, it may have something that's 5 to 8 basis points. So much less expensive. And there's an argument on both sides as to which is better. And you know, Steve, like any argument, both sides have their legitimate arguments to support why one is better than the other. What we have found at Provise is that we use as the core part of our portfolio the passive approach. And then with the active approach, we try to pick managers in areas where we still think there's an opportunity for the active manager to add value beyond whatever the market might do itself. So we sort of have a core and a satellite approach to the active management. Plus, our team does pick individual stocks for the equity parts of our portfolio in many cases. And so in that sphere, we are active managers, but still using passive investments underneath. So which one is better? The answer is yes. Just depends on what it is that you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it.
We just got a text from a new viewer in Coral Springs. Just found your show last month. I love listening to investment podcast. I must tell you, you have one of the best. I really enjoy listening to your show. I am a small investor. I guess he's wanting to know if a small investor can get started with your company.
The short answer is yes, and the definition of small is up for grabs.
Yes.
We do have a minimum fee of $750 a quarter in working with people. As long as somebody is willing to pay that fee, we will be happy to take the people on and to grow with them over time. If one is not willing to pay the fee, there are lots of excellent companies out there that will work with small investors. And again, I'm not going to name any or endorse any firms, but the key thing that any investor, large or small, in our opinion, needs to do is to work with a certified financial planner, a CFP professional. Why? The reason is very simple. The most important thing about the CFP designation is that you're having to deal with a person who has gone through a rigorous exam, who has to take continuing education courses to maintain their certification. But most importantly of all is they're required to provide financial advice at a fiduciary standard of care. And that means they must always put your interests ahead of their own. And so whether you're large or small, not all investors are held to that very high standard. Not all advisors are held to that very high standard. But we encourage you to seek out a CFP professional. Where can you find one? Simply go to cfpboard.org, cfpboard.org, and you will find a button there that will allow you to enter your zip code, and it will give you the names of all of the CFP professionals, generally within a 25-mile radius of where you live. We encourage you to visit with at least 3 of them, because you want to look for someone who has a good tableside manner that you can relate to and who speaks to you at the level that you need to know to understand the investments and the things that you're going to be doing. If somebody says to you, hey, don't worry about it, Steve, I know what's best for you, probably time for Steve to walk out the door and find somebody who is a CFP professional.
That's good advice. Bruce in Miami says, you have never been a fan of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, but I think it's a great investment. Why are you against it?
Well, Bruce, the reason is very simple. We do not see Bitcoin as an investment. In our opinion, to have something that is an investment, it has to produce something. It has to have something behind it. And Bitcoin is only, the beauty of Bitcoin is that the price is always in the eye of the beholder. We've seen over the past 12 to 18 months, it be as high as it is today in the 70,000s and as low as 15,000 not all that long ago. And the reason is it's much like the meme stocks that are clearly not worth the volatility that's involved with these stocks. It's just people who are trying to run the price up and try to make a quick dollar. Bitcoin doesn't produce anything. It doesn't have any dividends. There's no way to really value it other than how many people are willing to own it, how many people are willing to sell it. And in those kinds of investments, we see it as something that is not a strong part of our client's portfolio. Steve, as you've heard me say on numerous occasions, we're just vanilla ice cream. And if you don't like vanilla ice cream, you're not going to like our investment approach. Bitcoin may be a great investment for some who are willing to speculate and to take chances and who can. But for the average investor, it really doesn't have much of a place in their portfolio. If you have to have it, make it Las Vegas money, buy it, keep it, but know that if you lose it, it's not going to change your life or your lifestyle.
We just got another text message from Robin in Port St. Lucie. She wants to know, who is your favorite investment host on TV? Who gives out the best information?
Well, who's my favorite and who's the best? They may be two different. People. There are a lot of good folks on TV. Most of the folks on CNBC, I feel very comfortable with. I do watch it every morning as I'm getting ready to go to work for the day. But Fox has some good folks. There are a lot of different outlets that are Bloomberg, another one that are doing well. But if you made me pick, my absolute favorite, there's just too many good ones to do that. I do love the battles on CNBC in the morning between Andrew, Becky, and the team there. It's good entertainment as well as good information.
Okay. Jennifer in Naples, she said, I just inherited my mother's IRA, which is substantial, and I want to hold on to it until I retire in another 10 years. How should I invest it?
Well, two things before we talk about how it should be invested. The first thing is did your mom pass away before or after her required beginning date? And what is that? Well, it was either age 70, 72, or now 73. So you need to determine whether your mom was over any of those ages. And again, it changed over time. For instance, for me, it was when I turned 70 that I had to start taking money out. For anybody today, it's not until age 73. Why is that important? The reason that is important is if your mom passed away prior to her required beginning date, you don't have to take any money out at all during the next 10 years. But at the end of the 10th year, you would have to take out 100% because it must now come out over a 10-year period of time. So you would probably be better off investing into a nice moderate program, considering how close you are to retirement. And then over time, withdraw it in smaller amounts over the next 10 years so that you're able to keep the income tax down and that you're not having to pay a big tax if you had to take it 100% out at the end of the 10th year. On the other hand, if your mom was over her required beginning date and was already withdrawing money from her IRA, you must continue to take that money out every year. Now, the interesting twist on all of this is that although that's been the case for the last 2 or 3 years, the IRS has waived that response, or have waived that for the last 3 years. So it's very complicated. It's not simple. It's not straightforward. So visit with a financial professional that can help you sort through the different options that are there, and then determine your own tolerance for risk, and then set up a portfolio that's proportionate to that to set you up for retirement for yourself.
Ray, this show always goes by so fast. For those who are listening to podcast or radio, give them your phone number and your website where they can reach you.
Sure, Steve. Anybody can reach out to us with a simple question or take advantage of our complimentary 1-hour consultation by calling 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. Or simply go to provise.com. That's PROVISE.com. Provise.com.
Ray, we love having you on. You add so much to the show, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
I'll look forward to it, Steve. In the meantime, be safe and be well.
You too, Ray. God bless. That's care. Ray Ferrara, Provise Management Group. He's been with us for over 2 years. Just great information. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.